What's going on, guys? Zedd here, bringing you another Tekken 8 video. This one is my thoughts on the game, generally speaking, kind of rapid fire, as beta is ending in about an hour and a half, so I just want to get it out, and then we'll continue to play some afterwards. So at the time of the video, right now, I believe I'm ranked 21 or 20 for Claudio points, and in all the global boards, I'm about, I think it was like up 400 or something. Now that doesn't mean anything in the beta. What I'm getting at is I put a lot of hours into this thing already. And so that's just where my stance is. So I'm not out here as a Tekken 7 purist by any means. I think Tekken 7 has huge problems. It's really hard to get into. Everything counter hits, which is so dumb. It's awful. So I think Tekken 8 is a better game, and let me tell you why. I get people who like the whole slow poke, poke, poke playstyle of Tekken 7. I get it. I play like that too. However, where I think Tekken 7 gets it wrong is it makes it severely punishing to make any mistake in the first place or take any form of risk. So what ends up happening at all levels of play is you get players conditioning themselves to just never take any risks and never use 90% of their moves. And then at the highest level, all you see is just the safe checks, the non-punishable stuff, or the at least non-launch punishable stuff. And it makes characters like, say, Kazuya, or it makes lows like this one on Claudio, or any slower low that's pretty punishable, useless, right? And on top of that, you of course have safe counter-hitting mid-launchers and or high, but safe counter-hitting mid-launchers such as knees, elbows, like you can't parry these things, right? Tekken 7 is littered with this junk, right? Looking at Yujin, Leroy Geese, blah 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 blah. So Tekken 8 kind of turns it on its head and says, okay, we're going to take out 80 to 90% of the counter hits in the game. We're going to make things a little bit safer so that it incentivizes mashing a little bit more, but we are going to let you keep the odd counter hit or not, or sorry, the odd counter hit move. Difference being that a lot of the time they're punishable. So it gives you access to those counter hits that you want, but so far at least, it takes out a lot of the safe counter hitting mids, unless that's their whole shtick. For example, Asuka, right, still has her back 3 knee. Totally fine, that's her thing. Her offense is pretty awful, so it makes sense that she's got that on top of the parries, right? Makes sense. So you can kind of use more of your character's moves list. You can learn a bit better on the fly instead of being punished for every single mistake you make. And in that sense, I think Tekken 8 is a big step up in terms of accessibility and fun to both play and watch. Now, at the time of this test, characters like this chickie over here, Lily, and Jin, I think are two of the most ridiculous characters I've ever seen. They both do everything. They have no weakness. They have safe counter-hitting strings. They have mix. They have good range, neutral, poke, rushdown. Their heat modes are insane. Their damage is insane. Their movement is insane. They're like, Jin has a really busted dummy low. It's new. It's unseeable. It's a counter-hit launching low. It's ridiculous. I don't know what they're smoking with Jin and Lily, but those characters are next-level nonsense. Other than that, it feels like every character is strong, which is good. Azucena is sort of the newcomer in the franchise thus far. She seems solid, but not... She's solid and gimmicky, but I think kind of like Eddie / Josie. She's a little bit of a specialist character. I don't think she's a great side character, but I think she has the tools to compete in any matchup. And the fact that her parries have a bit of a built-in mind game is super cool as well. Tekken 8 in general, it plays better in my opinion. You can go a bit more ham, or you can still play slow depending on your character. As again, with the counter hits being nerfed in general, it's pretty nice. Eat chip, people have mixed opinions on this one. I think it's fine. I really do. I think that because it's all recoverable health, it's fine. Rage Arts being minus 15, I think is fine. Again, people are complaining about this. I don't really see the issue myself. My only issue, I guess, would be Heat's applications in combos feels a bit lacking, which even then, this is more of a Heat complaint. I don't want this to change, so it's not even a complaint, I guess. But some characters, Heat doesn't feel that useful, and or there are moves that give the Heat engager like that, and you're like, well, what do I do with it? Now, in the case of Claudio, his Heat gives him Perma Starburst, which is good. Not as good as it would be in Tekken 7, in my opinion, but still good. And his Heat Smash all of a sudden is a Hell Sweep. Now, that is not the case for the rest of the cast. The rest of the cast, more often than not, gets some sort of crazy combo move and or plus on block ender. So it kind of depends on your character, but there are some characters where it feels like you're only using Heat really for the Heat Smash, and that's not great, in my opinion. That's not really a fun design. Now, if that's the intention, sure, alright, fine, but you gotta make the Heat Smash really, really worth it. So, that's... I don't know the specifics of everyone's Heat yet to really say who or why, but I have read and heard, and I also feel as though, yeah, Heat for some characters is just Heat Burst or nothing, and there's no real... nothing else you really want to do with it. So, to each their own, right? Now, parries are unchickenable in this game, which I don't really care about. No one was doing it before. It's pretty hard to do, so let's just take it out of the game. Korean backdashing is still here. This is me just tapping backwards constantly. I love this. So they've actually made regular backdashing on par with Korean backdashing, and I think that that's really good. I know some people are butthurt about that, but I'm sorry. Tekken having, like, feeling like you're walking with cinder blocks on your feet is not fun, okay? It's not impressive. It's not enjoyable. No one likes it. Everyone who has played, you know, my main game, Soul Calibur 6, has said, wow, the movement here is way better than Tekken. Yeah, it is. It is. Now, that said, sidestepping in Tekken 8, way better than Tekken 7. Holy, I tell you, you can step so many things you never could in Tekken 7. Now, there are still some characters and exceptions. I'm looking at you, Lily. She's incredibly challenging to step her verticals, but whatever. Yeah, like, stepping is so good, and it's good because they've given more homing attacks to characters who didn't have them. First example that comes to mind is Huareng. He got a couple more homing moves to make up for the fact that he's very susceptible to step, right? His backlash no longer starts a combo, and so they gave him more homings to make up for that, I guess. I don't know. There's that. And, you know, for Claudio, you know, this is a homing that has way better functionality now as well. It now is a combo piece, whereas in Tekken 7, this move is pretty bad. So this is nice. This is good. More sidestepping and more homing means that players are going to be more inclined to commit to slower homing moves, which will open up better jabs and better jab mind games. That said, single jab is still +1 on block, however your 2-hit jab string is -3 for most of the cast. This is interesting because that opens up, you can still move, but it kind of, in a sense, sacrifices your turn. So think about it, right? If this is -3, and your fastest move is 10 frames, if someone has a 12 frame mid, there's nothing you can do about it. As soon as you block their second jab, so in the case of Claudio, right, he doesn't have a third hit on his jab string, and everybody should know that. The moment you block this from Claudio, you can basically use an I-12 mid. Or an I-12 mid. Which is just wild to me. I don't know how I feel about that. And this might be a Claudio problem, I'll admit, because a lot of characters do have a third hit on their string, on their 1-2. So, TBD. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at that. But the frame game is different. Stepping is way better. Homing attacks are encouraged. Not everything counter hits. And if you do have a counter hit Magic 4, then you have to commit to the string. This is the case for Law. This is the case for Nina, Asuka. Well, no, Asuka just doesn't have her Magic 4 anymore, actually. Claudio, Brian, all these characters have to commit to their string now, which is good. I think it's healthy. So it lets you use more of your kit. It lets you take more risks. It lets you be a little more mashy if that's your playstyle. Well, defense isn't really punished either in this game, and I'm okay with this. So overall, I think it's a huge step up. Super looking forward to the release and training and competing in it. I'm definitely losing to the legacy players playing characters like Brian and Jin, but other than that, just speaking anecdotally, I'm able to hold my own better in this game than in Tekken 7, because in Tekken 7 I've played it for a while now, but all those counter hits, man, it's so hard to really learn because you just die, right? You like, oh, can I jab here? I'm dead. Oh, can I duck here? Oh, I'm dead. Can I jump here? Oh, I'm dead. And so this game, I think, is easier to learn matchups too, because you can just trial and error on the fly without just getting absolutely two-touched every single game, right? So yeah, big step up. I love it. Let me know if you had a chance to play the game yet. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know who you play. Do you think they're good? Do you think they're bad? Why? And I will catch you guys in the next one.